Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. I am Eutimia, or La Kwaxiru, a name given to me by the Eutimia when I was studying with my mentor Chinese medicine in with the Guatemaltecos, and it means crazy, but from love, and that was very much so exemplified in how I interacted on that clinical experience, and kind of just how I am in my life. So, if you guys haven't been here before, thank you for tuning in. If you have been here, thank you for coming back. I've been on hiatus for about a month, doing a lot of soul searching, a lot of healing, and I think it's a really good thing. So today I have a really special guest, and I'm going to do a little introduction about how I believe this special guest came into my life. So there is a concept called Kriya, and that means pretty much your divine flow, your flow, when it happens for your own dharmic purposes. Dharma meaning life purpose, or what you were put here for. So a lot of us, we start having problems when we're not in our Kriya or our divine flow. For instance, little stupid stuff just starts happening to us. Oh, I got my car booted. Oh, I stubbed my toe. Oh man, I locked my keys in my car. Little things like that. They can go to even worse things, like you're in an abusive relationship or things just keep getting worse. You start fighting with your partner all the time. This is universe telling you that you're not doing something right, that you are off your divine flow. On the contrary, au contraire, when you are in your divine flow, you'll start seeing little things just start adding up. So, my Kriya it always shifts, like the energy's dynamic, the world's dynamic. We're constantly moving back and forth into Kriya or not. One of these times for me was when I was graduating from acupuncture school. I was in a relationship for a long time, and this person and I had gone back and forth ever since college. And he finally was like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And I was really holding on. My ego was super duper ridiculously invested in that relationship for a lot of reasons, a lot of conditioning growing up, a lot of Cinderella complexes. We can go more into that. I know you guys, some of you who know me know that I think Disney spoils lives. But I went to China to finish my studies in Chinese medicine, and my relationship ended. And it was really, really traumatic for me because I was really, again, my ego was invested in the outcome of that relationship and what I thought it meant for me. But then things just started happening. One of the things that started happening was I got really back into my yoga path very strongly. And I was invited by a friend teacher of mine to co-facilitate a workshop with him in Chinese medicine and yoga therapeutics at the Caribbean Yoga Conference in Jamaica. Part of the Kriya, life flow, follow. So I was there and I'm like, man, I really want to hang out with all these other yoga teachers. And they invited me to Treasure Beach. And I was like, well, I'm supposed to go to this other place, but I don't know. So anyways, I'm wandering around. It's like the last day I'm supposed to be at the Caribbean Yoga Conference in Montego Bay. And I have another week or so in Jamaica, and I'm not sure where I'm going to go. So I go and I sit in this hot tub, and I meet this beautiful woman. And we just started chatting it up, started talking about, oh, I just finished acupuncture school. She's like, oh, I love my acupuncturist, but it's in Colorado. I'm like, you're from Colorado? Yeah. I'm like, me too. Where in Colorado? Aurora. That's like 20 minutes away from my house. What? No way. And then we started talking about indigenous stuff, that I was raised in indigenous ways, and where my bloodline is from New Mexico, and then her bloodline in California. Then I'm like, well, I want to go to Treasure Beach. Oh, I live in Treasure Beach. You want to come stay with me? So the divine love of oneself and following one's path led me to this beautiful woman who I'll introduce to you now and have her introduce herself. This is Natalie.
Hello, Timia.
Hi.
So you want me to take off from that?
I just want you to tell everybody about you. What? Yeah,
it's a long story.
It's a long story.
Like twice your age. So it's a long story. Let's see. So from that point, she was talking about Kriya. I can relate very much. It's when people ask me, "Why did you go to Jamaica?" And it's not anything that I can say, oh, I planned this, I was going to go do this and that and do flower work. And as it turns out, why I was there at the conference was because I was doing flower work there.
Can you explain the flower work?
The flower work. So the year before, I met the organizer, and I forget her name. Oh, I can't remember her name.
Either.
But I met her in Treasure Beach. And she told me that she's doing this conference. And I said, well, if you need flowers, I would be very happy to do that for you. So that's how I got to be there. I set up in the different breakout rooms and the main stage. There were several that I put together. And so that's my crea was to, after retirement, because I retired now, 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And when we met, I want to say, was that 2013?
The beginning of 2013.
Yes, like at the end of January. Mm-hmm. Yes, mm-hmm. So I'd been going to Jamaica since 2010. And so it had been like 3.5 years. But I started to live there a year, after I retired. I knew that I had some connection there. And again, this was not something that I planned. It was definitely guided with a lot of things that I still don't understand. But you put words on it, as you always do when we have our chats. And it's the flower work, the love, the being in a place that I wanted to be a tropical island. And it just all came together for me at that. So, the gifts of love and companionship and giving and taking and receiving and honoring and gratitude, that was definitely realized there. Mm-hmm. And it's not like those things can't happen here, but I find that when I'm in Jamaica, the lessons are more profound. Okay. Because there's more effort sometimes to get things done, things that I would normally get my car fixed or whatever. There it takes a little more effort, and there's a little bit more, you're not uncertainty. And I think that's part of the adventure for me. And at my age, I just want to say something about being 68. I just turned 68 in August, is that it's essential at this age to be Medicare Plus, that you continually have new experiences, that you continue to learn. And I can do that there because I have to. To live there, I have to do that. So, so that was 2013, January, end of January. Yeah, that I would say, that there was so much. I think that following fall, a big thing with the flower work was actually teaching horticulture instructors in another part of the island. But there was just more and more, and that's just part of what I do there. The demonstrations, the classes. I don't run a business. People ask me. I'll be happy to do your wedding or whatever function you have, and I do that very givingly. There's joy and purpose for me in working with flowers, and it is a form of love to do that, to gift people, to show them the beauty, to remind them of that part of life and love. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know from looking in my end, especially like I was explaining, I had like the biggest heartbreak of my life. I was engaged to be married, and everybody, I'm from the hood, and I was engaged to a guy who was from New York, and there was a lot of, I feel like, I don't know what you call it, like little girls getting out of the hood. I don't know, like status jumping or something. I felt was very intense, like a lot of people I talked to, and even in myself, I thought that my value was placed on this person because I was marrying up or something. So it was just devastating to my ego, but it was so necessary to really realize who I was. Yes. So in that building period, I think I was 28 at the time when I met you, and I'm just like, whoa, super impressed. And then I met some people who you were hanging out with, and you were just having a blast, and in your 60s, and you'd had a whole other life before that. And here you are, like in Jamaica, like hanging out with the young yogis, and we were having parties and like past midnight, like singing and chanting and healing each other and acro yoga, all the things.
Right on the beach.
On the beach.
People pay thousands of dollars to do yoga on the beach, right?
Yeah.
And there we were. And I still do that at Jake's, actually. Yeah. I still go do yoga over there, and it's wonderful, the life there. I was going to say something because you're talking about loves and relationships and endings, and you taught me something on this, and it would be me going back to my 20s and perhaps even younger. It's like the lessons we learned from relationships, and love never ends. That's the thing. It's hard because you feel like attachment. You feel like you want to still have it. You still like want to be with that person. And the thing is, you're teaching me that no, it doesn't have to be that way in your mind. You just evolve in the relationship. And the person you met with, that I was hanging out with, that's kind of like how it is for me, because there are beginnings and it's not really endings. It just evolves to something else. People live their lives. They go on. They do things what they have to do in their lives, and that may or may not be with you. And they may or may not. Yeah, and the thing, the lesson in that for me is to be grateful, happy for them. Yeah. Their happiness, if you love them, is yours too, even if it's not with them.
Right.
And it's a big step because we're not conditioned to do that. Most people don't understand this. They don't get that. Like you're with one forever and ever.
Right.
And
Cinderella complex.
Yes, that's what you're saying about Disney movies. Yes, we're just conditioned to be that way.
Happily ever after my toe. Yeah. My hiney.
Yeah.
Not a thing, guys.
But I think
work.
we
work.
we make contracts with people. I mean, being married, raising a family, and doing that, I really feel like I did everything right. All that go to college, get the career, get married, have the family, the house, the da 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 da, but it's not the end all, you know.
Right.
It continues, and then I'm at the point of my life that the go get that's transformed. I'm giving away things because the trappings of materialism. I'm not putting that down,
girl.
But it is something that you can. I'm gonna again relate to people my age. That's the hardest thing for us to let go of that, because everything has a memory and experience. And you have to let that go. Okay, that was then this. But see, if you have new experiences always happening, I think it's easier. You let that go. You know, there's sadness with that too. But I think if you're always creating memories and experiences, you move ahead rather than get stuck. And I feel for people that maybe aren't able, for whatever reason, to have the experiences at this age. I think another issue along with that is health. If you lose your health, that's whenever I talk to people like you, youngins, keep your health, because you can still enjoy. I mean, I have to feel like going to Jamaica, that was like renewal. It was like this chance to think and be young again. And that's that. See, I went 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now, I would say, oh, I guess this is what happens when you get this age. You don't sex anymore. And there are things that physically happen to a woman after menopause, but they can be taken care of. And I found out, that's not true. My mother didn't tell me this.
Oh, thank God. Praise me.
Yes. Yeah, so you can still have happiness and joy and youthful being always.
Right.
It's a state of mind and being, but the health is essential. If there's issues with health, that will interfere because you're focused on that.
Right. Okay.
So
then you definitely move a lot. When you go to Jamaica, you walk a lot, you do a lot of yoga.
Swim, bicycle,
Nice.
Yeah.
So you would say then for you at this age, staying active is really bringing your health.
If I don't, I'm not feeling good. I'll just be somewhere and I'll just have to like stretch. I've been in this position too long. I got to stretch. I got to twist. I got to do. And with regular exercise, you get to do that. There are little kinks in the body at this age. It's not like you bounce back as quickly as you are when you're younger. But I do everything that I can to all my resources. And I include you. You're one of my resources. There's a lot of things, and you just keep at them to keep, the antioxidants. I'm get into the nutritional thing too, but that's all part of that. It's all part of that, of staying healthy and keeping what you have for as long as you can. And then if you have to take a look at some health issues, they can be corrected. And I've had some like joint issues like bunionectomies, and it was only going to slow me down, and I'm not going to say like I feel like Western medicine. No, it's a combination of, like you talk about the Chinese medicine, and in other countries they combine. They have the Western and the alternative, and they work together. And that's really hard to come by. But more and more, there are doctors that they keep themselves going and with research and knowing, and opening up. But that's a whole other talk show there. I'm sure. It's like, what happens with that?
Right. And I would like to say too, on the internal front, that's definitely, we want to eat well, and that means like real food, whole foods, stay away from processed foods, too much industry meat. I run in, especially in America, a lot of phlegm foods is what we call them. Includes dairy, alcohol, fried foods, cheeses, breads, a lot of breads, and those create a heavy feeling. And a lot of people are like, oh, I have sinus issues, or I have allergies, or I have blocked ducts, or all these things. And all of those things could be corrected by cutting back on your phlegm food intake, ice cream and croissants and all the delicious things that our microbiome starts to be addicted to and crave. We could really help ourselves out by cutting those back, and we wouldn't need invasive surgeries. I'm seeing invasive surgeries happening for like little toddlers with these issues, like getting these horrible surgeries done to them. And it's like, just stop feeding them so much sugar.
Overly processed.
And sugar specifically. And anyway, so that's the internal. But I also, me, according to my best friend, birthday is March 6th. And I don't know if you guys know that birthday book. And it's like the day of this or the day of that. She's the day of the beauty lovers. And I always love that. And when I got a Vedic chart read, it said I have a lot of Venus and Saraswati in my chart. And so I love to create beauty and make beauty wherever I go. And anyone who knows me, my love, he's like, I love watching you play dress up because it brings you so much joy. That's how you know, like, you're also moving in the direction of your truth, when your lover is like, yes, girl, do you. Because my former partner, the one who I broke up with China, he was raised to like not value aesthetics in the same way that I would, and he really like kind of made me feel bad, like that I was vain or that there was something wrong with me for enjoying beauty. Enjoying beauty, right? And so I had this like resurgence after we broke up of, oh my God, it's okay to be beautiful and I can spend time in the mirror. And I really realized too, like coming true to myself, and after I had that reading, that it just brings me a lot of joy. Like, I'm wearing double velvet right now. I got this like velvet suit in
one piece
in New York. It's a one piece. I was like, I have to buy it. It was like $15. And then my friend gave me this, and I'm like, I'm wearing them together because I want to. And I did like nude makeup, and it's really fun for me. And I feel like loving beauty, being in beauty, the Dene people have a prayer, and it's like, I walk in beauty, beauty before me, beauty behind me, beauty to the side, beauty in the front, beauty in the back, beauty all around. Because creator and creation is beautiful. So bringing that back to you, I remember when I met you, I was like, she is so fabulous. And so I just want to take a moment. Samson, can you put this camera to this beautiful woman here?
What do I do?
You just stay there and be fabulous. Okay. She's got these beads. Look at this pink, purple hair going on. Lovely skin. Beautiful skin. And
the silver hair. is mine.
That's hers.
A lot of young people, oh, you did that to your hair. No, this color is what I did to my hair. Just here and there.
And she's got her shoulders showing. To show them your hands. These are her natural nails. Right. And can you see? I don't know where's. Natural nails. Yeah, this is your camera.
Oh,
show.
Hi.
So I remember noting the adornment, and I feel like women are totally either celebrated or disgraced for that. There's that virgin whore dichotomy, right? It's like they're either a queen, they're queen bae, or they're a hood rat or whatever. And there's not this just genuine honoring of beauty. And I feel like that's also for men, where men are like, there's some, I know some men who are low-key jealous of women being able to like adorn themselves or wear some eyeliner, wear a little makeup. And Halloween, they look forward to it because they get to do themselves up, right? So I'm like a big proponent of men playing with your outfits. Get your scarves, do your hair if you want, get it done. Like, enjoy the beauty. Look at all the ancient cultures around the world who have these elaborate beautification processes, piercings and tattoos, and the ones who put the rings on their necks and that long necks, or the ear things and the lip things that are super. It's amazing. So can you talk about your process of beautification as you've aged and how your relationship has shifted? Or I'm just fascinated by how fabulous you are.
Well, I want to say one thing regarding the expression of creativity. I think I've had that for a long, long time, and that was through flower arranging. Ikebana specifically, it means flower arranging in Japanese. And I was trained in a school called Sangetsu, means moon over mountain. Ooh. And it's an expression of flower arranging that is meant to be as natural, without manipulation, without coloring, or it's as you see it in nature. And there are thousands of Ikebana schools, and they're all a little bit different. And they're, by the way, I'll plug this. Next week here in Denver at the Botanic Gardens is the annual Ikebana Flower Show. Ooh. Next weekend. You'll see we're working with paper and flowers. So every year I do these. I've never missed in the last 7 years. We incorporate something, like last year was metal. The year before that was driftwood. The year before that was bamboo. So there's a theme that we incorporate with it. And it's a little challenging for me because I typically, I just use the materials in more natural ceramic and baskets and that. My style is very innocent, I guess. I don't know what to say. But so that's been a part of my essence, is expressing beauty through flower arranging. And I think that does, like me adorning myself, as you've noticed, it just becomes part of my being, is to, and it's not vanity. It's like caring about yourself and wanting to show beauty. And I'm just amazed when, like you just giving me compliments all over the place,
Well,
and I like to talk openly about my age, because I think sometimes younger people like really fear that. Turning 30, turning 40, turning 50, 60. I'm going to hit 70 pretty soon. I was just meeting with somebody last week, as a matter of fact, and we were saying something about financial planning or whatever. And there was discussion about something that would happen at 70. And I said, I think I remember this conversation, but when I had it, it was like, oh, that's in 10 years. But here it is. Now it's like 2 years. So like life just keeps going, and it can be beautiful and creative and expressive, and all the things that you're saying about all the different cultures. You see that. You see how it's expressed in Jamaica. It's a little different there. I think age and size of women are honored in that sense that we don't have to look like a model, 6 foot tall and wear a size 3 or whatever, And the women there, they are what they call thick or fluffy. That's also said in Hawaii too, fluffy. They're beautiful and sexy. and they just show themselves. So you see all these different ways that people appreciate beauty, and I'm glad that you noticed this. This is since Jamaica, the beads that you noticed. Yeah, that's that, and this is my hair. I don't have extensions. The only plain I do is cutting, and I add some color with my hair, but I am silver. Yeah. So you youngins out there, keep your health. Keep loving, and I think you'll have a very satisfying life. I remember reading something like, have a good life, and then when you're older, you get to remember them and enjoy them again. And that's, I'm doing that right now too. I think everything that I have done in my life, people ask, well, what if you would have done? And it's like, I don't have regrets. Everything was gonna be that way. Like I said, I did everything right. Like, go to college and degree and a career and family, and now it's like, wow, I'm like back to in my 20s, that freedom, that independence, that creativity, that zest for what's going to happen next now. And I get up in the morning, we're using this word creative, and I create my day. And that includes, something with my green drink in the morning, my tea and my bananas, get going, exercise, and what appointments do I have, and what next trip am I planning? And there's a lot of joy in getting together with people and keeping the connections. Family and friends are so important to me. That's another piece for people as they age. You have to keep social connections. Don't isolate yourself. Get out there, whatever it is, and involve yourself with other people. Check on them. Let them know you care. And that's the beauty of living and loving, like what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
I know you had some other questions in there too, but it just came out that way around creativity and how that's an expression of love, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it seems like just the way you answered, like it was never a question. You're like, why, just because I'm getting older, why would I not enjoy myself? Right? Yeah. Right. My friend said that she saw a documentary about women in India, and one of the women was like, well, a tree doesn't ask, am I less beautiful because I have this knot or this branch, or because I'm bigger or older, or, a tree, why would I? And it was like, oh, and the society is so full of caca. Like, they just want us to hate ourselves so they can sell product, It's really unfortunate. And I know that when I met you, I felt like, I don't know, you gave me this new look at like hope, and I was like, I'm 28, I'm almost 30.
Yes.
And well, I'm never going to get married now, Like, wait a second. Do I even want to be married? Why I didn't want to marry him. I mean, now, and I realize that now. Then I was like so invested. And now I'm like, I would be a housewife alone in a big old beautiful house with no husband because he goes everywhere. And I couldn't even enjoy making myself pretty because he didn't like it, So,
yeah. Those are signs when it's not clicking. I think in my marriage there came a time where, because I like to socialize, I love to talk to people, That's why I Uber drive now. By the way, that's my travel money.
She's so cool.
And I love to, and my husband, he didn't like that, and I remember thinking like, I'm not a bad person. Why are you reacting that way like I'm doing something wrong?
Yeah.
Just talking to someone. So that was a sign of, this relationship is going to go a different way. There were other signs too, but that because you mentioned that he could not understand your joy with printing yourself up. And he was like trying to take something away from you. And that was the core thing, is like, no.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with me. I am a good person. I'm just connecting with people. I'm just showing my beauty. And if they don't get that, then you know what? Adios.
Yeah.
Just go do your thing, And it is hard though, because you have connections with them anyway, in this case, we have 2 boys and now we have 2 grandsons, and my life, that's another kind of love.
Yeah,
by the
tell
way.
me, I want to hear about babies and grandbabies.
Babies and grandbabies, yes.
And a great grandbaby.
Yes, I do have a great grandbaby as well. That's a whole other story there too, but let's talk about the babies first.
Okay.
The babies, as far as love, people talk about unconditional love. To raise a baby, you will know and experience unconditional love, because it is all about them. You do have to give up part of who you are to raise that baby, to let them emerge who they will be. And that's such an experience. And I think a lot of times, the way you
put that, let them emerge who they will be.
Yes. And that's kind of like our role. What's it? Colin Gabron, he said something about the archer and bow and arrow. And there was some kind of analogy about our children. They're like the arrow. And we get them, we take care of them, and then we let them go. But that's happening right. I would say that first year or 2, you're their main guiding force. But what you give them is impressionable for the rest of their life. And now I'm seeing my boys, who are excellent fathers. They're right there with their wives, raising them babies. And that's another kind of joy, seeing the grandbabies. Oh, it's love. And it's not like a love, because with relationships and a partner and all that, it can get a little fuzzy, a roller coaster in that. With the babies, you just give, because that's what you're there to do, to parent and to help them emerge to be who they are. Like I said, that just came out. But that's really what it is you're there to assist them in that. And you're a big influence for them. And so that's great joy. And my great grandbaby, my great grandson. Yeah, I've got all these little boys there. To have 4 generations, I feel so blessed. My daughter, I had her when I was 17, and her baby daddy, and me, we're not ever together, really. It was one of those things. He was in a band in East LA,
In East LA.
In East LA,
when
right?
You were a teenager.
Yeah. It was 50 years, and my 50th class reunion is coming up, baby. I just found out, and it's like, okay, I'm going to Jamaica. I gotta see if I can rearrange. Yeah. So it's strange how these things are happening. So I had Kathy when I was 17, and she was adopted. This was back in the day. I went to a St. Anne's maternity home in Los Angeles. And in those days, you either went away or you shotgun wedding, right? I was kicked out of school because they didn't have Title IX then. In the 70s, Title IX is like, you don't discriminate with females because they have babies. They can't go to school. But I did finish on time through adult school. Anyway, I had Kathy. And Manuel was the father. And Kathy, at 19, had Jessica. And Christopher, I met her. We connected. We reconnected when she was 21. And that's a whole other story about adoption and adoptees in search and birth parents.
I'm just getting so many chills right now.
There's just a lot there with what happened, and that we did connect. And I always felt in my heart that we would. But I wouldn't get to know her as a baby and raise her. And I of course, I met her mom and her father, and they're like an aunt and uncle to me. She did pass, Lolly Augustina. She passed like maybe 3 years ago. Since that time, Kathy and I have grown even more closer. But we're like friends. It's not like I'm like her mother. It's a little bit different. I would say with my sons, because they're grown too. They're like your age. They're in their 30s. And now I know them as adults. It's a different experience because they're not these little needy, and I'm going to influence them. No, they're living their lives, and I'm there to keep loving them, but I enjoy them. I enjoy them as grown-up people. So Jessica, my granddaughter, Christopher's not married or don't have children, so we definitely broke out of the teen parenthood pregnancy thing because she was 28. she got married, she had a baby, and now little August will be turning 2, December 26th, and I'll be out there in Cali also for that. It's all these things.
Wow.
I go to California a lot because there's connections. Last year I went 4 times because he had been born in 2016, and I hadn't seen him. And then there was something else. I'll go. Oh, there's something else. Oh, I'll go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's on my calendar. Is late April, early May, and I do have Native American roots, and I go there for the spring bear dance where my mom was born. So I connect with my Native roots and do the sweats and that. But that's also my time to do my rounds with family and friends in the Southern California, LA area.
Okay.
So
I have a question. When you got pregnant when you were 17, what was your experience like with yourself and the idea of love or the presence of love? Was there a lot of fear? What did you feel like it was love for yourself, giving your daughter up for adoption? Was it love for her? And how does that manifest in you now? Yeah,
I would say when I was 17, I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing. Really, it was that way for me. I didn't really have it together, but there was definitely guidance, I would say. And in my situation, my parents were separated at the time, and I grew up in an abusive home with alcoholism. And what I thought was, I don't want her to have to grow up the way I did, to see the domestic violence and the drinking and that. And I feel like I saved her from that. And it wasn't till after we met when she said something. She says, when my friends talk about their parents arguing and fighting or getting a divorce, she says, I don't know what to say to them because I've never seen my parents argue.
Wow.
And then it was like...
And you took a big deep breath and you were like,
yes,
I did the right thing.
Yes, absolutely. That was a confirmation that I saved her from that. And so, yeah, as far as Manuel, he was in a band, drummer. Look at this. Look, we're in a recording studio here at the back. Yeah, and, it was just one of those situations, and...
was he much older than you?
No. It was just a couple. I was 16 and he was 18. And but that was definitely not meant to be. It was just a situation, and there is a spiritual connection with him. Although it's one of those things, I'm glad I didn't marry him. What can I say? Yeah. He was married 3 times, and it's like, yeah, no.
And you have a connection with him now?
Yeah. Let's see. Last year, oh gosh, through the years. There's so many things that the universe is amazing. And when you start noticing them and you take account of it and you show gratitude, it'll just keep happening. Right. So, Kathy met him, in the 90s, about 25 years ago or so, approximately 20-something years ago. And she kind of kept in touch with him, but she was a little taken aback by him, and she was not favorable to him, but she was happy to meet his side, her cousins and that. And a year ago, and when I go back to Cali, right?
Cali.
Cali. Yeah, he went to the house where I grew up there in South San Gabriel, Rosemead, California, and left his card with my brother. My brother has a house now. And he said, have Natalie give me a call.
Whoa.
And I just happened to be...
A year ago
in April, right? And
so
then I just happened to be going like 2 weeks
50 years later.
Okay, so this is like from the 90s. It would be like 25 or so years. And at that point, little Augustino, was born. And I really feel like it wasn't me.
Right.
It was to make a connection with Kathy, with Jessica, and that little great-grandson, and that's his first. Kathy was his first child as well.
Okay.
So there is a special connection, and, as a Chicano man, that like family, children, that's very highly valued.
Yeah.
So they have since made connections, and like like he had a bout, he had to go to the hospital. She went to visit him. I mean, she's showing loving and caring, and he really appreciates that because he didn't really have that with her.
Right.
All these years. Yeah, like about 50, for them, after like almost 50 years, for them to connect that way. And I'm very happy. So he calls me, how you doing, Natalie? And, I have some unfinished business with him because we really never connected as I know what real intimacy is. It's not just sexuality. Intimacy is on a deeper level. It's a spirit, it's an intellectual, it's everything. And I have not really cleared myself about what I was feeling. Being pregnant at that time and age, there were no teen parent schools, which most of my career, that's what I ended up teaching in teen parent schools here in the Denver area. But I never cleared that, and I think at some point I will. It's just necessary. So there's a little bit of resentment, a little bit of like he tries to joke with me, and
and you're like,
yeah. It's like give your jokes are old. Give me
you don't know me.
Yeah, and that's really what it is.
Right.
It's really what it is. You don't.
Wow.
You never like for him. Like he's had conversations with Kathy about what happened.
Right.
And he says, he just didn't know. And I said, Kathy, the truth of the matter is he doesn't really know me. That's why he didn't know, like she was adopted and that,
Did you tell him when you got pregnant?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But, he wasn't really there for me as I hope that men who do father a child can do that for that child.
Right.
So that wasn't meant for them. And again, like I said, I don't like to think about regrets or that is this, it's what happened. But look, now they're making a connection. She's an adult, but like time and space, right? That's our limitation, right? In this zone here, right? This life,
third dimensional reality.
Yes, yeah. And so, and love doesn't end.
Yeah.
And but that spiritual connection has been with him in the sense of we had our first child.
Yeah.
That was his first child, my first child. And there's just other things. When I was at that home, I think I had called him to say, this is where I'm at, blah, 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 this is what's going on. And on the afternoon, early evening of when I went into labor, he happened to call. It's a phone booth, right? This is before
cell phones
and all that, right? So there was a little phone booth that we could make phone calls right there down the hall, right in this maternity home. And he called, and one of the other girls said, Natalie's in labor right now. So, like, how did he know? Yeah. How? Like, can't explain that. Like,
right,
but that's a connection. And then last year, contacting, I'm coming into town, and I thought, oh, how sweet, is it checking me? No, it's really about Kathy and him and that baby, little Augustino, Yeah, so.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's Manuel, and that's a connection there. But it's not like what we were saying earlier. It's not like you're always going to be with that person you think you could have or would have or wanted.
Right.
It's not like that. But you're still connected.
Right.
Yeah.
You're still, and you can still give yourself permission to love them however that shows up.
Yes, exactly.
You don't have to hold back your emotions. And
yeah.
I think it's really sad because we've got this dichotomy in the United States or in Western culture where it's like you're like that virgin whore dichotomy, but for men and women alike, it's like you're either in it for the long haul or it's a one night stand. Yeah. It's like, can we just be people? Can we just like show up and say what's up? Like, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm feeling. These are my conditionings. This is where like left swipe or right swipe. I've never been on Tinder, but that's what I hear you do because I can't do the dating thing in that way because I'm the kind of person who's like goes to the core and like when this is the love of my life, everyone. Oh, she loves me. Really? She's like, yes, everybody, I'm here. And
this is me.
This is so as she showed up on my front door, we were in it to win it from the beginning. Huh, mamas? So when I've done dating, it's like dudes get really scared right away because I'm like, all right, this is me and this is how I roll and this is what I am. And so I'm looking for this, and that. You in, you out, whatever. Like, or not even in and out. Like, all right, now your turn, go. And they're like,
yes, they can say, yeah,
And I just like, dud, next, until you like get someone who can really like relate with you. And even I've been in relationships with people who pretended to relate or like, oh, I'm totally here. Or, yes, I want to go deep. And then they would like leave really intentional stuff out. Like, I'm in pain right now. I'm like, well, I'm a healthcare practitioner. So, well, no, like they don't want to be vulnerable around you, or they don't want to admit their deep pains, or they don't want to do the work, which is like, this is my shadow self. Let me show up and tell you, hey, man, my dad did this to me. My mom did this to me. I'm in pain right now. I just need you to know that. Instead, they like act out and want to like scream at you and tell you that you're a bitch or something. You're like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
So people need to be really, when we're in relationships, we need to be willing to see each other in all the ways and be honest. Oh, look, she wants to give love in you now.
You what? You want me? Okay.
Oh, Hirasol, my baby. Sorry, she's a distraction. She's got David Bowie hair. Check her out.
I would say for me, the things that you're saying, and when I was 17, going back to that, I didn't really know. Like I said, I didn't, what is it, WTF? I really didn't know. I really didn't know. And it's taken me many, many years to get that. And that's why I really admire you, because you just get right to that. It's like, why, what's the BS about this?
Bullshit.
It's like, let's be honest with each other. That's real intercourse. I said intimacy, right? But real intercourse is where you have a meeting of the souls and the minds and the heart. And yes, sex may be a part of it too. But if you can have all that, wow.
Right.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I think a lot, and this is interesting to watch people go through this and do this, and even with myself, especially where I've come, we've talked about this on the show before, is karmic affinity. Like you have an affinity to someone, you're like drawn to them. That doesn't mean that's your baby daddy or that's your life partner, maybe that's your best friend's life partner, but there's a reason why you're called to them. And that brings you to different places in your life. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be in romantic partnership with them. And I feel like because what the society has done in industrialization is taken us out of community, taking us out of communal intimacy. And the only way we know there is a door or a portal to that kind of intimacy is through romance in the society and how society has been shaped. But actually, that's just an affinity. Right? So you see people all the time, like, I don't know, there's something about them, and we project romance onto it right away because that's the only permission we have to be close. So that's why you see these things emerging. I know that, like in festival crowds, like people want to like hug and touch, and then everybody's been raised by the Christian church and the Catholic church, like, oh my God, that's so dirty. And it's like, no, I'm just hugging my friend. Or like when I lived in Italy for a while when I was in college, and I remember loving watching men hug and like kiss, like mwah, mwah, on the sides of the lips. I'm in a band with two girls. We're called Baobo. Check us out, Baobo Musica. We have a show coming up on October 5th at Jazz at Jack's if you want to come. But me and my girls, we took a nap. We had practice today. We took a nap together today, and we're like giggling and laughing, and we like come together and we put our heads together and we go and we give each other all of this love, and it's super intimate. We sing together, and singing, like, music is like crescendo and decrescendo. Like, you could definitely liken it to sex. Right? You're like having sex with all these people if you play music together, or if you're cooking together. It's a type of intimacy, and there's so many ways to have that. So I find it very unfortunate that people only can wrap their heads around intimacy when it comes to projecting romantic relating onto it.
Yes.
Right? So
yes. So here, you reminded me of a couple of experiences I've had, and this gets back to having lessons.
My dog's having intimacy with herself right now.
Experiences in Jamaica where I don't necessarily have here. Okay. One of the things is the ageism is not as apparent as it is here. I like young men. I like the company of young men, and not just sexual. And this is real interesting because I have a couple of friends.
I like young men too.
Jamaican men who help me with various things. One's a carpenter. He also cultivates and he raises goats and whatever. But he's a good friend, and the sexual thing has never come up. It's not necessary in our relationship. It's what you're talking about. It's not just about romance. There's another young man, Courtney, the one I just talked about, he's like 40-something, so like that's a little bit older. The one I enjoy. And this young one, he puts music together so I could have my thumb drive and have my music when I travel all around. And anyway, he says, you know, and my name is Natalie in Jamaica, and I really like the way that's Natalie. He says, you know, Natalie, he said, this is really unusual. He says, friends in Jamaica, male, female, they usually have sexed. He said, and you and I haven't. And I said, no, and it's not gonna. We're saying it's not gonna. I said, because to me, that is not always gonna be the best situation.
Right.
And it was, he said, yeah, a platonic relationship. And I was kind of amazed. There's Jamaican, he's telling me platonic, I said, oh yeah, that's right. It is. I said like that because intimacy happens in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I enjoy that friendship without the sex. It's just the meeting of the minds and something you share. In this case, it's music and the thing, about music because it's crescendos, yeah.
The crescendo.
Yeah, well, that's why movement, right? And I don't play any music instrument, but when I hear the beat and I feel it, I can't hold myself. And I'm always amazed with people how they have to stay reserved and they can't let loose. But I'll be one of the first ones to get up on the floor.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting what you're saying and how the lessons. And I don't really have any male friends here in that sense, that way. And co-workers and all, but I'm not really connected with that so much.
Right.
But I do enjoy that. Mm-hmm. I do enjoy having relationships and I don't know. It's interesting how I see things here now, but yeah.
Right. Well, and I think that's the problem. Like even in dating culture or women are like this whole dick pic thing. Like he just sent me a picture of his dick. It's like, dude, like that's invading my realm, my territorial bubble. This isn't about that. Can we just like be friends? Can we be homies? And it's just sad how our intimacy is boxed.
Yes.
It's boxed so that people feel the need to do things like that. Till it's like only invasive. I think that's why there's rape culture. Like if we could all just like hang out and like hold space for each other and even in my practice, I touch people all the time. And honestly, a lot of people who come to me are probably people who are just deficient in intimacy. And they come and I can be very motherly and I'll just like put my hand on their head and like ask them how they are, put my hand on their heart, and they breathe deeper than they probably have their whole life. Put my hand on their chest, and if they're a woman, their womb or their dantien, their lower belly, and say, breathe here. And they're like, oh my God. And then their pain goes away like that because they're connected in their bodies. So touch is super underrated in our society. I really like to have people touch themselves everywhere and not to be scared of any other parts, and that whole patriarchal is the pilgrim Protestant church thing. It's like, it's a sin, you are a sin, you come from sin, you are a sinner. And it's like, actually, no, we're all divine and beautiful.
And God is not what you are trying to conjure up in our minds about. I have a difference. I love to pray with people, and I'll pray in any kind of setting, but when some of the different groups start talking about hell and fire and fear, and that's not my God.
Right.
No,
Right.
That's not my God.
Yeah. So I'm not sure, guys. How are we on time? Where's my gentleman at? 5 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, cool. So I just want to say, like, if any of you guys listening, I feel like this woman really inspires me because of the way society has shown us that, like, our elders are throwaway members of the society. We have these old folks' homes. I'm also going to say that a big part of the reason why elders might not be as lucid, flu shots, don't get them. Any kind of shots, they are full of neurotoxins that will make you off. They will put you off. Eye problems, mind problems, aluminum, crossing the barrier membranes, these immunosuppressants. They are disallowing our bodies from actually doing their jobs and creating more toxicity in the bodies. So we age because of toxicity. It's oxidation, really. The things that make us not age are, like our dear Natalie said, exercising, enjoying life, play, go out, let people be your muses. Also, I'm going to go here. Well, actually, let me... Okay, La Kwaxiru is a little crazy. There are ways that we can keep the vigor in our life. And she's an exemplifier of that. So thank you. Thank you for living your life fully and beautifully.
It's such an honor to be here and to share my story. And it's like, I don't know, I it's just there. And I'm happy to make an impression and an influence on whoever about life.
Yeah, yes, thank you. So this is the last thing I'll leave you with. It's exciting. I like to talk about it. So on liking younger people, I've been known, I don't know, I'm 33, right? So I guess I'm not a coug. I guess you have to be older, I don't know, to be a coug. I've been called a puma, maybe a jaguar. I didn't intend for this. Like, apparently I just attract beautiful young men.
And you'll continue to do that too.
Yeah, I had someone tell me I was tripping about it when I was like 28 and I was like seeing like a 22-year-old and I was like, oh my God, he's so young. And this like 45-year-old woman, she's like, honey, you're just going to keep getting older and they're just going to keep getting younger. Stop telling yourself the story. And I was like, whew, and then I met you. And I was like, oh yeah, we just keep getting better. And then when you get older, I had a young person I follow, a beautiful young woman on Instagram, turned 28, and you know, there's this like, oh my God, almost 30. I'm like, Mama, it just keeps getting better. Like, you just stop caring about what everybody starts thinking, and you're still fabulous. Anyways, taking it back, ancient Chinese theories of longevity. Longevity meaning storing more essence, having more life essence. So our life essence is stored in our kidneys. We call it the primordial chi, or the essence. The essence is expended in sexual activity, for men in ejaculation, for women in menstruating, and a little bit during coming ejaculation, but mostly in gestating children and childbirthing, losing your essence. So there are these Taoist practices of Qigong, of energy, understanding that you practice to move the energy up. So when you're a woman of childbearing age, you're releasing that energy constantly. But once you hit menopause, the flow reverses. So you are then able to reach like spiritual enlightenment because the flow goes up instead of releasing out. And for men, there are practices called seminal retention. So basically, instead of ejaculating when you orgasm, you can actually keep your ejaculation inside and still orgasm. And this takes a lot of practice in being able to practice retention, or keeping your seminal fluids, your ejaculation inside. And it actually, according to the practice, recycles itself. The fluid you create during sex with your partner, it recycles itself back up into your being, therefore adding to your essence. So the idea is to practice these longevity practices with an apt and willing partner. So you get a partner, you guys practice together, and first you're just gonna like sit in lotus pose or like in cross-legged pose like that with each other, and just breathe and look into each other's eyes and keep bringing yourself up to like the excitement place, and then wait, and then bring yourself back down, and bring it up and then bring it down. And for men, you can see how this can be like practice, like they want you to masturbate but not to come. Because when you come, you relieve your life essence, and that means you look older quicker. You have starting having lower back pain quicker. Any of you guys who are listening and you come a lot, you're probably like your knees. You know, if your knees get weak after you come, your knees might get weak. Your lower back might get weak. Balding happens sooner. All kinds of aging. So when you practice with an apt partner for both men and women, you're able to bring it up and then bring it back down, and bring it up and bring it back down. And that way your resistance or your discipline gets stronger, so you're not ejaculating. According to ancient text, once you do this with an apt partner, it is advisable and strongly suggested for both partners to then go out and find younger partners to do this with, because they have more life essence than you. So when you're expressing your fluids together,
experiences.
This is ancient knowledge, lady.
You're
you
saying
feel it, right?
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
you
absolutely.
bring in that life essence of this younger person, and in turn, you are offering them your wisdom as an older person. So there's this mutual reciprocity happening with this life essence exchange. Then, after you both go and have these experiences with the younger individuals, you come back to your partner and you do it again. So you're like intentionally exchanging life essence with people. This isn't just like random fucking, right? You want to intentionally choose these partners. So there are stories of these ancient empresses who are like Qigong masters who can actually stop themselves from having a period with these practices, and that these ancient empresses look like 30 when they're like 60, because they go out and they find these young partners and they have sex with them. These young partners ejaculate into them. They don't even get pregnant because of how they're connected. Anyways.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's some food for thought for y'all.
Yes.
All right. So on that note, anything you'd like to leave our public with, Miss Natalie?
I think I've said a lot. The most I've said to people I don't even know. And usually it's usually people like you. I know, I get close and nothing is held back, because it's honesty, it's love, it's, your connection with them. So I'm very happy I was able to do that here today. And I hope something I said or shared with you is meaningful and might shift you into a better space in your life.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing your words. I honor them. I'm so grateful you came to share your experience with us, and keep doing you. I'm excited to see you in a few more years, 5, 10. Dang, man. I'm looking forward to being 68. I'm going to enjoy 33 for now, for another few months. And thank you all for tuning in. La Kwaxiru here. Check out my Muse in Medicine page, and I offer sliding scale healings as well as full healings for upper scale rate, if you can afford that, so that everybody can get care. All the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. And if you want to check out my band, Baobo Musica, that's another type of healing that I offer musically. And this is Hirasol. She's my love. And thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.